Hello guys, it's me, Teddy. Back with another assignment for my CEN 3024C class. Specifically today, we were tasked with giving a project management plan and scaling up our DMS. I do apologize, I am a little under the weather. I am sick right now, so I do apologize if I'm kind of like nasally or if I start, sneezing or anything. All right. Now, the purpose of this presentation is to outline the strategic approach to transforming CC's Candy Corner from a local desktop application into a more robust, scalable, enterprise grade solution. The vision of this is so we can support more users. Our true vision is to be able to scale this up to where it can support millions of users potentially across multiple companies, but also make sure that it still has functionality that everybody can use as a single person. The scope of this project management plan is to detail the critical aspects of managing this expansion, including the overview of the project, any risks as well as mitigation steps, how the resources are being allocated, and any quality assurance steps that we are going to be taking along the way. And the end goal of this would be to ensure that we have a successful, high quality, and timely deliver of an enhanced data management system that is capable of meeting the demands of a significantly larger user base. Now, a little bit of the background and a bit of the project currently. The program is currently run through a user's desktop, and it is also with a local SQLite or SQLite database. The goal is to change that from a desktop solution to an enterprise solution. Again, the target is millions of users, not just businesses, but local end users as well. The architecture will be cloud-based due to the fact that we want to make sure that it works with multiple businesses and multiple companies as well as multiple users. We're going to need that cloud functionality. And the way that they can access this is either through a web or a mobile application. And the features of that will be multi-tenancy. So basically, if you're doing work on your, mobile phone or whatever, and then you go on the web, it will have that same information ready. Pull up the account, and you can continue where you left off. A little bit of background of the project. It started out as a local Java FX app, and it had manual data entry via a data.txt file. Basically, what it was for was to manage a bracelet inventory. It was limited to only one user because the solution originally was created for one single user for their business. So the future, thinking ahead or whatever, we're going to want to make sure that this is a global platform as, people in different countries may want to utilize this software. So we want to make sure that, currencies and stuff like that, are more accessible, different languages exist for it, etc. The needs for this program are it has to be highly available, meaning that even in times of complete stress, it will remain up. This requires a robust tech stack. Now, some of the operational risks associated with this project, I chose to break them down in. It's technically two sections, but it's also four. But basically, I broke it down into tech operational and people project risks. So the technical risks would be the scalability of the solution that we are providing, the the risks to any data, as well as in terms of data integrity, Are people are accessing it that they shouldn't be accessing it? Some of the security operational risks, as we mentioned before. Security is an operational risk, but this is more geared to the data center or the business that would be hosting it. We want to make sure that, we also kind of proof against, in-person attacks. We're going to have contingencies in place. Specifically, we're going to have cloud architecture. We're going to provide a robust database that will store multiple versions just in case, the system crashes or data gets compromised. Then we'll have a backup of that. As I mentioned before here with the backups, we're going to want to make sure that we're following all encryption in safety, handling protocols like transfer protocols, etc. We're going to complete audits, and we're going to perform monitoring. That way we can cut down on some of the security risks that may be, more person related. Which gets us over to our people and projects risks. Some of the risks for this project are lack of skills. Currently, right now, since I am the project leader or the project manager, I created it. I'm not very well versed in all the different, programming styles and APIs and etc. So, I would want to make sure that, there is no high turnover rate for this role. I want to make sure that the people who are working on this project are skilled in what they need to do. Some of the project risks would be like scope creep. Are we, starting out as a project that's supposed to be helping people manage their bracelets, but now suddenly our brain has shifted over to, oh, well, let's put 3D images of each bracelet in there so you can see what it looks like. Stuff like that gets you way off track. We want to cut that down to a minimum. Some other project risks that we may run across is moved up timelines, stuff we can't control, changing requirements from a client, etc., stuff like that. But we do have contingencies in place. Some of them include team training. We can change who can control the code, like access rights, etc. We want to make sure that we're going to adhere to agile methods, and we're going to assign clear roles. Now, speaking of clear roles, let me just go ahead and minimize myself just a little bit more. We're going to go talk over to resource management. Now, I did break this up even further, so there are 2 slides for resource management. We will get to the other portion in just a moment. Right now, we're going to talk about specifically the resource management of the people and the project itself, I guess. So the core roles in this role will be me. I am the overall project manager. Then we will have a solution architect who is there to design the architecture of the system once it's in the cloud or develop the cloud structure itself. The backend developers will be the ones who create the core APIs, how the app and the program itself interlock or connect and communicate with each other. The front-end developers will be the ones who create the UI and the user experience. DevOps will be providing the solutions to streamline and automate any processes. They will also be the ones who take over and ensure that data is transferring safely down the pipeline without any compromises as well as any data loss. Finally, our QA engineers will be providing quality assurance and quality testing. For our more specialized team roles, we will have database administrators. Their role will be specifically to manage the database as well, create/manage it. The UI designers, once the backend developers have created, the front-end developers, Once the front-end developers have created the UI itself, the UX and UI designers, their job is basically to get feedback from users, Find out what features, anything like that, the users may want to implement in the future to improve the user experience. Security specialists, they're there to ensure that all data is safe. Nobody can access the systems that shouldn't, so they will also be in charge of like access management. But they are also in charge of ensuring that we are meeting all data law standards, such as any data handling requirements provided in the GDPR. That way, we don't open ourselves up to litigation for not following data breaches or data safety policies, and there's a data breach or something. The technical writers themselves, they're a team that would be responsible for the creation of any software documentation for this project, as well as some of the more necessary documents like the charter, etc. Then the Scrum Master basically just is making sure that we're facilitating in a way that is, Agile approved. Now for the material resources. So like any hardware, any software, this is why I broke it down this way. So some of the hardware requirements that we will need a cloud infrastructure for the purposes, of computing and storage of data. We want managed databases to ensure that access of that data is high quality and it's what's the word I'm thinking of? It doesn't take too long. It doesn't lag. It's quick. It's efficient. We want to introduce load balancers to better distribute that traffic, because if a bunch of people are using the app or trying to request data, etc., at the exact same time, that can cause bottlenecking issues. So we want to ensure that the load balancers are there to prevent some of that bottlenecking during, especially, times of high throughput where it may be like peak hours or something. Next, we are going to want to make sure that our content deliverable networks are global. Like I said, this is going to be for a global audience. It's not just going to be for America. So, we want to make sure that we're following all standards and industry stuff. For any development machines, we're just going to use standard virtual machine workstations. And for testing environments, we're going to do staging and UATs. Now, for some of the software resources we're going to require a developmental environment. Personally, I put here IntelliJ IDEA. That's the one I've been using so far for this entirety of this project. I just listed it there because I'm familiar with it. For version control, we're going to use platforms like Git that have the ability to have multiple versions of the same program. For the CI/CD pipeline, we're going to want to make sure that's automatically deployed, or it's an automated deployal. That is one of the resources that will be required by the DevOps team. Some of our more monitoring tools include like business insight data, as well as like KPI tracking, stuff of that information, to ensure that all things are being met, all risks are being mitigated, including people risks. So we want to make sure that we have software to track those things. It got cut off here, but some of the monitoring tools for the business side, we could use Tableau or Power Business Insight. Or for more of the KPI stuff, we can use a more HR business solution. For collaboration, we're going to use Jira and Slack. And finally, for security scanners, we're going to do vulnerability assessments. Generally, what these will be like people who go in and poke and prod at our system to try to break it. And it's very, very important for us to have them work along with our quality assurance people to ensure we're catching those bugs and, maintaining our security policies. Now, for quality management, I had discussed it before. I broke it up into two sections. We're going to go over first one, which is quality management, the testing procedures themselves, and then the next slide over will be the validation and the QA of it all. So we're going to want to make sure that we're doing unit testing of each individual component. We're going to want to make sure that it's validated and that each part of the software works properly. We've done this similarly in the past using JUnit tests as an example. We can also provide integration testing, via module interaction verifications. We can do system testings, which test end-to-end functionality checks. Hey, is the pipeline, for our data working? Okay, let's send a test data packet through, etc. Performance testing, these are just more or less to test like how stressed our system or our servers could be. Security testings, as I mentioned before, these would be like brute force attacks, stuff like that. Essentially, verify how stable and secure our systems are. And then we want to do UATs, which are user acceptance testings, and these are just business validations. Next, we're going to want to do validation and QA, which includes code reviews. We want those to be peer quality checked. So if you submit a line of code, I think it's only fair to ensure that the project doesn't get derailed or one line of code is not rogue and messes up the whole project. We're going to want to make sure any changes are submitted to be reviewed before they are implemented. And then we're going to want to make sure that we're enforcing coding standards. We want to have an environment that enforces a specific standard of coding. If it does not meet that requirement, then it should let the user know, or let the developer know, and then let them adjust from there. We always want to make sure it's continuous integration delivery systems, so we want to make sure we're providing patches if any changes need to be made, any features are added. We also want to make sure that we're collecting user feedback in the form of error submit reports so that we have some sort of idea of the problems that are coming across, but also we want to we need to develop a way to have proactive issue detection. So if we have like a list of commonly known issues, we can feed that into that system so it can pre-scan to make sure none of those issues are common. And any issues that pop up from there, we can continue to add to that knowledge database so that that system can then proactively, let us know when that issue is arising. And then obviously we want to provide security audits because we want to make sure that, we're being very transparent with data as part of the requirement for the GDPR. We need to make sure that we're taking all possible steps needed to ensure that data integrity is met and nobody's data is compromised. So we do want to provide those audits so people can in fact see, this is maybe not the full back-end code of it or anything like that, but maybe like a watered down report that may not give any information away, that can just be used for quality assurance. Now, our plans for success, and these are some of our key highlights, is we are doing a strategic shift from switching from a legacy executable to a cloud native solution. This is for the purposes of being mass deployable. We are going to implement a comprehensive risk mitigation strategy, as I discussed before. For resource management, we're going to want to make sure we're going to build a dedicated team of developers, and we're going to want to make sure we're effectively leveraging all other remaining resources. That way we can ensure project success. For quality assurances, we're going to effectively ensure quality standards are met, and we're going to do this through a process of progress tracking and validation methods, as mentioned previously. Scalability, we're going to focus both on scalability and reliability because I feel like that's something that's not necessarily addressed when you try to scale up. You tend to make things less reliable sometimes. And that can go exponentially higher the more you try to scan it or scale it, the more risk you run, right, of it not being reliable. But we also want to make sure that we're avoiding not having it be scalable enough to the point where it's like users are trying to access it and they can't. I see a big example of this within like the gaming industry when people try to play World of Warcraft at the same time and the servers just can't take it and there's a queue for people to use it. We want to make sure that we find the right balance between scalability and reliability that ensures high throughput even in times of great congestion. And then our final plan for success is a commitment. And it's that we will be focusing on ensuring that this project remains an enterprise grade solution. And what that means basically is we're gonna our commitment to sticking to the plan. Cutting down on scope creep, making sure we're not getting lost in the sauce, if you will, but making sure that we're actually delivering what is expected of us as the client requested within feasibility. Now, here's the takeaways and what we will achieve. We will provide a seamless user experience with an intuitive and user-friendly layout. We will ensure that the software is highly available, yet it is secure. This is the global thing I mentioned. We want to make sure it's as accessible to as many countries as possible, but we want to make sure that it doesn't lead to any vulnerabilities that come back and bite, individual users or developers in the butt. We will achieve a comprehensive set of data-driven operations that should speed up processing of data. This is the job of the DevOps team. For adaptability, this project will remain adaptable with post-release patches, updating features, etc. That ensures that this program, can withstand multiple variations. In the future, maybe we may, increase its functionality. Maybe we can, increase the functionality to incorporate more than just bracelets. We've already increased added features like sortability, different currencies, etc. So we want to keep that, we want to keep that mentality going. We will achieve that by those post-release patches. We will achieve a successful large-scale deployment of this enterprise solution. And then we will achieve an increase in confidence of this DMS software amongst not only the team, but of the users and the businesses that use them themselves. These are just a few of my references and my sources. We got the PMBOK guide. We have the Phoenix Project, a novel about IT, DevOps, and helping your business win. Ian Somerville, he wrote the software engineering book. I used Amazon Web Services, their AWS Well Architect Framework article, the Google's Best Practices article, the Azure Architecture from Microsoft Azure, the project documentation of CC's inventory management system, as well as the manifesto for agile software development. Thank you guys for so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.